Hi, and welcome again to another edition of the Digital Plantation. Because the internet, as you know, is one big plantation. I'm your host, Dwayne, and so glad to have you guys here. Today, we're going to talk about, got two topics on deck for you today. We're going to listen to an interview done by a gentleman by the name of Dan Pena. And I think you're going to find this quite interesting. And then after that, we're going to take a listen to a little historical factoid that you probably didn't know. And for some of you, it will probably knock your socks off when you hear this one. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and get right into it. And again, so glad to have you guys here. And you can always hear episodes of Digital Plantation right here exclusively on YouTube. But we also have, this is just a part of the bigger family. We have the Digital Plantation, and then we also have Off Plantation Radio, which we do periodically. I'm actually in the middle of changing that up a bit. So just be on the lookout. I'll let you know what we got in store for Off Plantation Radio. Off Plantation Radio is basically where we talk about topics that, YouTube and some of these other platforms typically won't allow us to talk about, but we make sure we talk about them, on our other platforms. So again, that's Off Plantation Radio. So take a listen, take a look out for that, and I'll post links up there and on our different platforms that many of you already know. So anyway, we're going to get right into it. This first conversation that I want you to listen into, this is from a gentleman by the name of Dan Pena. Now, Dan Pena, just very quickly, he has extensive military background, particularly in the area of intelligence for the United States. Very successful business person, and he's just been extremely active, and he's still successful to this day. Recently, I came across an interview that he did where he was talking about how he and other powers that I would say should not be kind of got together back in the early 80s and, had a very interesting conversation on what they were going to do with Haiti. And I want you to take a listen to this because I found this. It's when I was listening to it, I said, wow, this is literally like listening to the smoky backroom conversations. And these people just now, I guess they're of age right now. They just figure, hey, listen, we're just going to tell it. So I want you to take a listen to it, and we'll be right back.
I mean, and this is something that we forgot to even mention briefly in the movie, but I read your book again, cover to cover after the movie. And I was like, how come I didn't remember this? And you mentioned it when I was at the castle, like in one of our coffee breaks. But I mean, you almost went in there blazing.
Yeah. I was at Onassis Shipping Lines, working directly for Constantine Gratsos, who's the CEO of Onassis. And he said, we have this opportunity, Mr. Pena, I want you to attend this meeting with me. And so I went, and so they're going around, and the Mobil Oil was there, the Vatican was there, the head of the Vatican Bank, a representative of Imelda Marcos was there from the Philippines, and a guy from the CIA was there representing supposedly Secretary of State, although they denied it later, but it was the CIA guys. And they said that the church is interested in Catholics in Haiti. Mobil Oil is interested in oil in Haiti, supposedly they have. Imelda Marcos just wants to have a good time. And the Onassis Shipping Lines is interested in shipping oil in Haiti. And Mr. Pena, and so I'm waiting for the shoe to drop, and he says, you were a military officer? Yes. You were an intelligence officer? Well, arguably yes, but I'm an infantry officer. He says, Mr. Pena's going to head this up. And I head up what? I didn't ask him in the meeting. After the meeting, I said, well, Mr. Gratsos, head up what? The invasion.
What year is this?
1981-82.
81-82, the Vatican, the CIA, Imelda Marcos, Mobil Oil want to go in and remove the president.
They were Baby Doc DeValier, and a Tonton Macoute, and we were going to invade through Dominican Republic next door. And in Miami, I get a message on my, in those days, block phone, cell phone, from a guy named Isaac, who was our CIA operative, that said, we're pulling the plug on the deal. The State Department thinks it'll be too controversial, bullshit.
But you were first of all, they asked you to do it, and you said yes. I'm in.
I said yes, yeah. And then I recruited about a 250-man army of mercenaries and
American.
French Foreign Legion, American, Israeli, what do you call it? Our head guy. I was the general, but the number one real military guy was a guy named Mike Williams, who was West Point graduate and professional mercenary. His claim to fame, unfortunately, was he was the last head of the Rhodesian cavalry. Rhodesian, it was now Zimbabwe, and with a picture of him riding on a horse and a bayonet and a black baby on the bayonet. His claim to fame.
That was him.
Him, okay. With the baby on the
You're
bayonet.
always hanging out with the right people.
Yeah. And Mike Williams, and so we acquired a nuclear device for $1 million from the French.
A nuclear device?
Nuke.
What
because we really were going to nuke everything, but then we found out that ruins everything for 20, 30, 50 years. So then it had to be boots on the ground. I believe I invented boots on the ground, but that, other people argue with me about
phrase.
That. Okay.
And, so you're going to go in there with some Hueys.
Yeah, we had 21 Hueys. And by the way, kids, you know how Arnold and those guys hold those 50 caliber? You cannot hold a 50 caliber in each arm. You can't hold a 30 caliber in each arm. You can barely hold a 30 caliber in two arms. So when you see these movies, they're not real weapons. But yeah, we were going to be boots on the ground. And
what'd your wife say all about this?
I left her a long letter. I said, "Don't open this. If you open this, I'm dead." She said, it's one of the few times she didn't support me. One of the few times. But the interesting thing is when the deal got pulled, we had a list. The government in exile from Haiti was at the LaGuardia Airport, New York. They had about 80, 90 rooms. The list of people that we were supposed to assassinate grew from 6 people to 600.
You were going to take out what? Baby Doc and a few of the
Yeah,
people that were going to get Baby Doc out of there?
All the top guys.
Okay.
And then they said, you got to take out all the Tantat Makut. You got to take out all the mercenary butchers. Because you got to kill them all. So 3 seminars ago, we got a black kid, good-looking black kid sitting in the audience. I go around, Jim Jones, Dave Jones, whatever his name was. And I said, "What's your last name again?" And he told me, I go, "I was wondering when you were going to, my dad was mayor of Haiti. Port-au-Prince." "What?" And I said, "Your dad was on the list. If I had whacked your dad, you wouldn't have been born, you little black bastard." He says, "You're right, I'm thankful." And I said, "Well, then do something with your life. Serendipity dealt you a good hand, now go out and do something with it." A smart kid, but his dad is the first person I could ever connect to the actual deal.
That. So the list went from 6 to 600, so it's getting a little out of control.
And then that's when, allegedly, the State Department said no.
But it was days away.
Yeah. No, hours.
Hours away.
36 hours away.
Chance of you making it through that alive? It's going to be pretty hairy. Real hairy. Everything gets messy when all those plans go to shit, right? And you don't know who you can trust.
First gunshot,
and
plan goes to shit.
For all you know, they know you're coming.
Correct.
Right. Loose lips. Jesus.
Yeah, absolutely. But I was going to be the first off the head,
And blasting.
Yeah. And then after that, when that fell to shit, I was what do they call it? Gutted. And then, then I looked a couple times going to do some mercenary work in South America to get trigger time again because I never saw combat.
Right.
And but by this time, I'm getting long in the tooth. And now they've got mercenaries, arguably 40s and 50s. Now, back in those days, they didn't. And so I'm too long in the tooth, and I had been away from the military too long. And
You're in the 40s now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it didn't work out. And so that's one of my it's my main regret.
But probably maybe for the better.
Yeah, well, I'm here. I might have been killed, but I could have been killed by the buffalo running over me.
Yeah.
And I've had 3 or 4 other fucking. There's this thing on my site called Dan Does the Impossible of 18 or 20 things, crazy shit that I did. But I've always been drawn to proving my masculinity, my manhood, or whatever you want to call it. I didn't know it was testosterone in those days, but I should have been dead at least 10 times by now, at least. And now, wrongfully, you can't kill me, you know?
You believe that?
Yeah, I believe it with all my heart. And see,
That's a weapon.
in the movies, when they say, okay, do you have any last words? That's not how it's done. Boom, boom, boom. Now do you have any last words? Then you go, boom, boom, new clip, boom, 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 boom. That's the real world.
Well, man, I tell you, they just keep telling on themselves. I mean, you hear how, as many of you know, Haiti is rich in metals. I know for gold for sure, but also I believe oil and other things as well. And here you have a gentleman who was part of a force or a team, I should say, that was made up of different countries and the Vatican. Yes, that Vatican. And well, I tell you, people, if you are still out there and think that the Vatican is just this little pious church somewhere that only cares about the people and making sure that the people have everything they need and, spiritually are taken care of. Think again. Here you have someone that's part of the American agents intelligence apparatus who said that he sat in a room along with the other countries, and basically they were initially planning on nuking Haiti. So I found that to be quite interesting. Again, that is Dan Pena. That's Pena, and the name of that video is "I Was Going to Invade Haiti alongside CIA and the Vatican." Well, anyway, what we're going to do is let's go ahead and take a quick break here. Then when we come back, we're going to get to that other story that I was telling you about. It's a fascinating and quite interesting historical factoid there. You're listening to Digital Plantation. I'll see you right after the break here. If you're like me, I always like a little pepper on my bacon. Now, this is beef bacon. I don't do the pork. But I couldn't just reach for any pepper. I had to go with our 50-50 pepper. 50% pepper, 50% black seed. That means I'm getting all the peppery taste of both, plus the numerous health benefits of black seed. It's like supercharged pepper. And the taste? Bruh. You're going to have to find out for yourself. Get your dash today at sambatree.com. All right, again, that is sambatree.com, a Samba Tree, SAMBA tree.com. All right, so we're back. Thank you so much for tuning in to Digital Plantation, where, again, like we said, the internet is one big digital plantation, in case you didn't figure that out. Well, anyway, let's go ahead and get on back here. This is a story I came across that I really found. I've been meaning to play this, sometime, and now I'm able to. So I have a little time to. Anyway, so this is, many of us already know about, World War II, World War I, or whatever, when all the Allies that were coming together against Germany and and all that stuff to try to rescue the Jews. That's what that was all about, right? And many of the movies that we see in Hollywood or, and just whatever, always portray. I was even looking at, in fact, it was recently I was looking at it was a news report, and this was from the Beijing News, if I'm not mistaken. It was a Chinese source for sure. In Beijing, they had a play that they did talking about the Holocaust, and the entire cast was made of, it was the Jerusalem Post, that's what it was. And the entire cast was made of Chinese people that were dressed up as they were reenacting the Holocaust. And and the Jerusalem Post was like, big upping this thing and saying, see, this is amazing, people all over the world are getting our story. So anyway, but there's a lot. If you've been following our platform, not necessarily here on YouTube, but specifically on mybontube.com. We've been providing a whole lot more information, factual information, that you're not going to hear a lot of other places. This is why we tell people all the time, make sure you go over there to my BondTube, and that's BANTUBE.com. And there where you'll find a whole lot of stuff there, movies, documentaries, all kinds of stuff that you will not find in, on platforms like what you're listening to right now. So yeah, make sure you make it a point to go over there. Well, anyway, this particular is about 20 something seconds. This is from a rabbi, trying to see his name here, Yaron Reuven. And he is going to kind of let us know, he's going to tip his little Jewish cap here for a moment and about to drop a major bomb on you. Take a listen here to what he has to say about that war there, something that you probably didn't know.
Hitler hated the Jews with a passion, but what a lot of people don't realize is that Hitler also had a certain relationship with certain Jews where at least 150,000 of them fought in the Nazi army, killing their own brothers and sisters. So there were Jews in the Nazi army. Hitler
there you go. I'm playing it again. Right there you go. I probably should play it again. Make sure you heard. So according to this rabbi, okay, this isn't me speculating. This ain't me guessing. This isn't me going to one of these far ultra-right websites or anything like that. This is from Rabbi Yaron Reuven. And he's saying out of his mouth that Hitler had about 150,000 Jews that were fighting for the Nazi army. I bet you didn't know that. I know I didn't. So there's a lot out there, family. And that's what we're committed to, here, really uncovering, and like many of you who are listening to platforms like this and other platforms as well, man, there is so much out there that, that has been covered up, that has been hidden and all of that stuff. And I tell you, we're living in an exciting time right now where this stuff is really starting to come, our eyes, let's put it this way. It's already been out here. It's just that we're in a place right now where our eyes are starting to be open now. We're starting to see the things that were already in front of us. So anyway, quite an exciting time that we're in right now. Well, family, that is it. That's all I have for you. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Digital Plantation podcast right here on YouTube. And until next time, I'm Dwayne. You guys take care, and I'll see you next time.